Hi there boys and girls, Matthews here and welcome back to another video. So today we want to address the question that's being floated around the gold making community quite a lot recently, and that's just, well, is it too late to get into crafting legendaries? Now after BlizzCon we found out not a lot. We were hoping to find out a bunch of information about what might happen with the legendaries, but unfortunately the only thing we're really able to take away from BlizzCon regarding legendaries is that, well, patch 9.1 is still a fair amount of time away. Some people have estimated as late as July, possibly even August, before we see patch 9.1, and that basically means we've got a few months to kill with patch 9.0 continuing to be the current content. We have seen that patch 9.0.5, so the sort of the mid-tier patch that we're going to see, hopefully at some point in the next few weeks, bring along with it some subtle changes to the legendary powers, I should specify. Not necessarily the base legendary items in terms of crafting cost or materials needed or whatever the case may be, but the actual legendary powers themselves, and this may bring a few people to do some testing and to play around with them. Now I'll leave it in the hands of the experts when it comes to the classes to sort of dictate whether any of the best in slot legendaries are going to change, but my feeling is that the likelihood is that if your BIS legendary right now is probably going to stay your BIS legendary, but there may be some scenarios coming forward where you may actually want to like craft a new one for the purpose of PvP, or one specifically focused towards AoE over single target, that sort of thing. This ultimately means that there is still a reasonable demand for legendaries. You guys will know that I'd steered clear of the legendary market for a little while. I liquidated my stock a good few weeks ago, and I've just been sort of living the luxurious position of having a bunch of gold, being able to sit on it and not really feeling that strong urge to have to be milking my server for every penny that it's got. But I was doing some research earlier today, and I was pleasantly surprised by some of the things that I found. What I should really preface is that there's one big reason to why I got out of the legendary market completely, and this graph shows you exactly the reason why. If you guys are not aware, the Undermined Journal is a fantastic website. I talk about it and I use it a lot on this channel. It's fantastic for tracking the prices and the trends of materials. You can see from this that, well, for those who would like some additional help, the red line is telling you how many materials there are across the region. Now, when I talk about the region, I'm talking about the EU. I apologise for all of you over on the NA. You'll have to sort of do a little bit of your own research into this, but 90% of the time the trends are very similar. The red line is the quantity of a material available across the region, and the blue is indicating the price of that item. And as you can see, starting from January the 1st, the quantity of a lithium ore was just going up and up and up, and the price of a lithium ore was going down and down and down. What did this mean for blacksmiths? Well, this meant that it was very, very difficult to turn a consistent profit with your legendary items. If you weren't able to sell your legendary items very, very fast, you ran the risk of somebody else being able to craft the item for considerably less than what it cost you to craft, and then easily undercut whilst they make a profit and you end up taking a massive loss. This was part of the reason to why I decided to jump out of the legendary game for a while, that it was just too volatile. Prices for the materials were going down really quickly. The demand for the legendaries was also declining, and making every sale, not only was it harder to make the sale, but there was also less profit in each sale, and it just stopped being worth my time, so I liquidated and whatever. But look what's happening now. In the last week or two, you can start to see that things are leveling off a little bit, which this means that it's getting to be a good time to maybe start looking into legendaries again. If you are like myself and have got rank 4s kicking about all over the place, you may be able to start looking at crafting these again without the dramatic risk of, oh, if I don't sell this for 3 days, it's going to be worth half as much. This is also emphasised when you look at things like Callous Hide. callus hide or equally heavy callus hide, they're basically the same. But you can see beginning sort of end of January, there was a huge amount of supply. My suspicion was that it was being pretty heavily botted, which was somewhat confirmed by screenshots from every server across the globe. So the quantity was going up, and something happened. Whether Blizzard banned a whole bunch of bots or whether all of the bots just decided they'd had enough, don't know what the case may be, but they got switched off again. And as you can see, over the last couple of weeks, the supply of materials is starting to come back down to a sort of normal level. But what has also happened is the price is plateaued, and this is really good for crafters. This means that your material price today is going to be a very similar material price tomorrow. It's going to be a very similar price a week from today. That level of consistency is perfect for crafters. That means you can go out of your way to get your materials at the best possible price on your server, and it means that you can actually squeeze out a lot more profit from each and every sale. It also means you don't have to be quite as aggressive with making those sales as fast. By this point in the patch, I would imagine that many players have sort of... there's probably only a handful of people that were heavily crafting legendaries on your realm to begin with. I would imagine a few of them have sort of called it quits at this point. So if you want to casually get back into crafting legendaries, then it's probably not a bad time to do it. Both callus hide, both heavy callus hide, the prices started to plateau. Now, I do recommend that everybody look at their server individually and don't take this entirely as gospel, but I like to use as much data as I can get my hands on, and by the looks of things, it doesn't seem to be the worst time to get back into legendaries. If you either want to start getting your ranks up, please, for the love of God, take it slowly though. Don't go out there and craft 45 legendaries to power to rank 4 and then expect to sell them all overnight. That's just not going to be the case. Unfortunately, those days are gone. But craft 1 or 2, post a couple at a time. Don't flood your auction house because you want the ability for people to come in and reset markets if they wish. But now is not a bad time to get back into it. 9.1, as we said, is going to be a reasonable time away, so you've got the ability to take this slowly, take it at your own sort of pace, don't rush it, but I would say the market is looking relatively strong for you to step back into the legendary game, or even start up with legendaries if you missed the first round of it the first time. Is it going to be a super 20 million gold a week moneymaker like it was at the beginning of Shadowlands? Probably not, but it's easily one of the best ways to make gold in World of Warcraft right now, outside of smashing your face against a keyboard and doing farming. So I'll leave you with that, boys and girls. If this has been helpful for you, remember to hit that like button. Let me know how legendaries are selling for you on your realm. I know a few people are still pretty proactive with trying to get those sales. I'd be interested to see just how much of a difference the materials sort of plateauing out in terms of prices had for you. But there we go. Remember, if you're new around here, boys and girls, hit the subscribe button with the notification bell on and you'll get a heads up from YouTube the second any of these videos go live. It's quite often on the channel what we talk about has somewhat an element of time sensitivity about it, so the quicker you can get in on the information, the better, the sooner you'll be able to take advantage of it. But take from that as you will, boys and girls. I hope you enjoyed, and I will catch you guys next time. Peace.